Well. Hello everybody, Sean here, and we are here for another detailing video. But not just a ordinary detailing video. This is something brand new, in fact, quite new here, and this is going to be quite the video here because we're going to do the whole 9 yards. But yes, first off, this is the Mini Cooper. There's a brand new 2025 Mini Cooper, fresh off the lot, and not not hit by the tariffs, thankfully, I believe anyway. And a lot of cool things about this car, but not for reasons you think. I mean, I drove the car already. It is a fun car to drive. It's like very go-karty. It's a Mini Cooper. Yeah, although it's an automatic, but it's not my car. Anyway, the other fun thing about this car, though, is that as the majority of the cars I've washed, well, especially my family's, have all been white, or at least a light color anyway. But this one is going to be a fun one because it is the opposite. It is black. As you can see here, black wheels, black paint, everything. So this is going to be really cool to work with because now you can like see the chemicals on camera, of course, but also how the paint would react to the car detailing elements, and not just the environmental elements as on top of that. So this is going to be a really fun car to work with throughout its time. I will try to do my best to take care of it now that I'm in this like whole rabbit hole, and we have a brand new car here, so this is going to be real fun, like I said. So in this video specifically, we're going to do the hybrid wash. We're going to give it that roller treatment, including some deconning. It is a dealership car, so it has sat in the lot for a long time, and as you can kind of expect, the dealership detailing is a little lackluster, so we will help with that later on, especially because we are actually going to polish it to prepare it for a coating of sorts. This time for the coating, sadly, it's not a brand new coating, but it will be the DIY Detail 8-year coating from a year back. So yes, the durability will be affected to some sort, but it is going to be garage, so it's not going to matter all that much, and I think I couldn't quite gather enough to get myself a brand new coating on time anyway. I would have loved to test the clean 3-year coating from Pan, the organizer, but time and such other things is of the essence. So we're gonna go through that. Anyway, we're just gonna work with what we have. That's all. That's what it's all about. But also, we're gonna be testing quite a bit of new products. So first off, we're gonna be using the Ryobi automotive pressure washer. I managed to get my hands on it for about MSRP or whatever the usual price, which is $150 or $164 with tax and all that stuff. Not only that, later on during the polishing phase, we are going to actually try my first battery-powered polisher, which is the DIY Detail DA battery polisher, the cordless one. So all this sesh is going to be real fun. I have a lot of time today, so yeah, it's gonna be all fun. It's all fun and games with this one. Of course, as long as we are reasonably careful. So let's get to the whole 9 yards of the detail. I'm actually going to turn on the pressure washer right now just to see what it's like. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. I got something to show you guys of just what just happened, in case you didn't hear that pop. So what you just heard was the sound of a hose exploding. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that just happened, unfortunately. This was going into the inlet of the pressure washer, and it just exploded. So Unfortunately, I guess these hoses aren't that great when it comes to pressure washing, I guess. I mean, I actually didn't think this would happen. I did not expect that. So I guess these are just for garden hose use only. But yeah, everything's okay. Just a couple of things got wet or okay. Nothing vital is wet anyway. Jeez, that scared me. Okay, let's try that one more time. Hopefully nothing else explodes, as you kind of see the aftermath a little bit. I luckily bought myself a new sort of short hose, so I use that. And this is from Flexzilla, so hopefully nothing will go wrong. So let's see what happens. Okay, everything's good. God, that scared me. All right, as usual, got my little jug right here and put that right into here. We have Carpro Reset today and a little touch of citrus, just to make sure we get all that sitting in the lot crap off of there. I know maybe it might be a little excessive, but we want to make sure everything is off because we are going to do a coating and then along with a decon later on. So we are just taking those extra little steps because I have them and why not. Okay, so we're going to be using the Ryobi gun right here. So it's a little unusual. Snapped right in there just fine. All right, I got the tripod off this time with the gun in one hand. This is gonna be a little awkward because this is a more of an angled gun. I always use the McKillens, so bear with me with my camera work and all that fun stuff. So anyways, Mini Cooper, let's foam this on for the first time. Actually works nicely because it doesn't have that slow wind up that my Karcher had. That way I can just stop and then just go without too much worry. Let's get the mirror. And then, yep. Yeah, I know there's a small car, but that was like really fast. That was actually really fast. All things considered, I think the GPM in this is different enough for it to actually make a notable difference because it is a 1.8 GPM at max. And then, oh, I forgot to do one of these. Oh well. Anyway, Carpro Reset is not the foamiest of soaps. That's fine, but the speed of coverage was noticeably faster. So maybe that is really saying something. I did use the 1.1 orifice for those who care. But yeah, Carpro Reset with a little bit of citrus, just so we can really get that pre-wash going. So there's a little bit of film going on the top of the foam. Other than that, like if you look at the edges, that looks like just something from the concrete. So I'm just gonna just look at the top instead. There's a little bit of film going on, like right here. It won't pick up on camera. You kind of see you see how like this is a little off. This is a little more white. So there is a separation of color right there, and then that little line of film. There's a tiny bit of film. So that goes to show, yeah, even just sitting in the lot like that can accumulate quite a bit of stuff. Especially when, you know, you don't know what the actual workers at the dealership are doing. Like it could be, you don't know, like you never know. It could be joyriding or something, or I don't know. Okay. We do have now the nozzle right here, so let's just see and test. Nice. The stop when it's stopping, there's a bit of a delay there, but when you start, there's a bit of delay as well. Just a little note. So I think it's dwelled on long enough. I know we can even let this dwell even longer. Time to just rinse off and see what this is all about. Oh yeah, oh wow. Yeah, you kind of see how the paint is. Yeah, the rinse off is real nice. Actually, it does feel a lot different for sure. Yeah, I'm actually really happy with this. Pressure washer so far. It is some time to get used to because of how it's reacting with my setup, as you can sort of see, but yeah. The pressure washer is nice, the gun somewhat, not so much in a way, because I do feel it in my hand and my arm somewhere. Gun itself is fine as a starting gun, but you definitely want to eventually upgrade from it because of the way it's angled. I can definitely feel over time this not being as ergonomic as first impressions would lead to. But nonetheless, I mean, the trigger pull is actually not that bad, all things considered. It's just long-term use, I don't think it will be as favorable, because I would feel like, yeah, this part would kind of dig into my hand. The grip actually kind of digs into my hand rather than being something of a complement. And then, yeah, just the angle, because, yeah, I could alleviate that a little bit with the angled nozzle or whatever, the lance extension. But like I said, like a lot of it really becomes more apparent the more you use it, and that is why you don't really realize or appreciate you know, going from this to something like that. It makes me appreciate this McKillen's gun I've been using all the more. Luckily, it is a cloudy day today. We are already appearing to be in the fall, so that's pretty good, and all things considered. Let's go ahead and do everything else for a hybrid wash anyway. All right, today we're gonna go with the Hero Rinseless this time. think there's a game going on, so the neighbors are a little louder than usual. Having more fun than usual, I should say. But today I'm gonna have my fun throughout the day and night with this little shindig right here. Yes, sir, it is slick as usual, even on non-coated paint. So that definitely says something. So yeah, I like the Ryobi. I definitely see why people are liking it. It definitely covered the car fast, and the rinse off felt like half the time, because I swear like it takes me like 3 minutes at least for the car shirt to do its job, like adequately anyway, to my liking. It feels like 3 minutes, but I don't know if it's actually 3 minutes. So yep, we're gonna go through the whole 9 yards. Like I said, we're gonna polish, we're gonna decon and then polish, all that fun stuff, and coat it, everything. Like I said, it's gonna be one hell of a ride for this weekend. That's how I'm gonna spend my weekend. So we'll try to be quick. We did get a big delay from thanks to the hose exploding on us. But again, we're fine. It could have gone actually worse. I was a bit of a panic for a second there. Unfortunately, though, because the sun is not out, we can't really see the damage on the paint, because I can already tell you it's got some love marks on there, especially on these parts right there. You'll probably see later on before I polish. Yeah, driving the Mini was a kind of experience. There is no shift stick of any kind. There's nothing to shift with. In fact, I think it's all CVT, unfortunately. But the car does still go. It has a bit of kick to it because it's small and lighter than something like the Countryman, for sure. That's, definitely a given for sure. Ooh, unfortunately, you can't actually stick up the wipers like that, so you're gonna have to just work with it as is. It is such a difference, right, of how small it is. I feel like I'm already like almost done with the car. Oh man. But even so, like I felt like the coverage, the foaming, like everything else, the rinsing felt really nice and quick. But I guess the real test will come once I wash my own car and my sister's car, because my sister's car is the Prius is actually the biggest car here, surprisingly. So for the deconning, we're actually going to try out the freaking quad-fold towel from DIY Detail, so you can definitely see how unusual it is even for a perforated synthetic decontamination towel. Mouthful, yes, but I guess that's what it is. You can see like the 4 quads sections, all that stuff. So we're actually going to use this bucket right here, which we're going to use as a wheel wash for later, to decontaminate and all that stuff. So we're going to actually use the bucket right here, this one that has like a separate solution. This one has a little bit of the foam cannon solution, but also additional carpro reset, and I'm going to use the Geon iron remover to get any possible iron particles off the vehicle. Which, yeah, we're gonna do just a nice quick pass. Oh, they're actually is quite a bit right here. Definitely feels a little different because of how the synthetic material is not like overlapping anymore, so it is easier to fold and handle in a sense. So I can definitely see where Ivan is coming from with the whole like quad folding thing. So it's interesting. It is an interesting device, so to say, or product. I know SEMA is coming up. I'm just gonna watch people's videos about it. I'm not gonna be there, unfortunately. Maybe one day I will make my time for it. But right now, my time for that, when it comes to the convention stuff, is still for Evo. If I get maybe like one more week of vacation time, then I will definitely consider it. But one day I'll make my way there, and hopefully I meet a lot of the peeps of the detailing community. Ooh, the roof definitely got that sandy sound to it. So I'll definitely do a little one of these. Wow. Door's not so bad, so we'll do a quick pass on it. It's like the top side, like the flat surfaces that definitely are. So you may notice the bucket is a little different, but still cruising around, but a little different nonetheless. Unfortunately, the bucket I was using finally cracked. The wheel fell off, and it's not the most comfortable to work with, so I had to retire it. So it's kind of like sitting in the garage for right now. So probably sometime I will have to, you know what, I'll maybe contact somebody to make me one of those wheel, what do you call, the bucket wheel or bucket dolly with the pole on it, with the handle. I'm gonna call a certain somebody perhaps for their services to make me one of those, because why not? But that'll be for another time. Let's worry about the Cooper in hand. Yeah, overall, I think the towel feels actually nicer in the hand. I don't know if it's something about the material of the actual synthetic material, or just the way it's designed, and maybe the quad section really does help with things. But yeah, I like it. Well, Ryobi did get this in the package, so might as well use the extension lance. Whoops. And use a 40-degree tip. I always like 40 degree. I know some people may like the 25 better or whatever, but I like the 40 just because of the coverage. So. The window is actually surprisingly hydrophobic, so I don't know what the hell they put on the window. But nonetheless, they'll get polished away for the coating. As you can see right here, with the nice IK electric foamer. Look at that. I'm not sure why it didn't like stop pumping. It just kept going. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, why this kept pumping. I don't know, man. This is the first wave after all, so I guess I'm also being affected with its wave quality or something. Put the lens extension down. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and tack the wheel right here. There's my wheel mitt. Oh yeah, these wheels are lovely to work with though. This is probably the worst part. It's got so many spokes and tiny little ones. It's great. You know what, man? It's just all a part of detailing. You just work with all kinds of cars, just like you work with all kinds of people when you're a therapist or, you know, whatever, right? Retail, anything, man. Oh, look at this filth right here, though, on the tire. That is just awful. All right, to get the wheels all coated and such, well, we're gonna use the Quiver hot coat right here to get the wheels. We're not gonna coat the wheels for sure, not with these spokes, man. Yeah. And then get that part. All right, I got the light on my head, I got a light in my hand. We're gonna work on the back first and then go to the hood, just because I wanna take this chance to get the garage door, or keep the garage door open still early enough. And then that way, by the time I'm done with the back door, I'll close it. That way I'm not too noisy or anything like that for the later stuff. And then yeah, so I don't know if this will show up on the camera. You can you can definitely see the markings on the vehicle right here. If you look around the light, not at the light, you can definitely see what's going on, get an idea what the paint is like. Yeah, the vehicle already had some watermarking, all that lovely stuff. And I promise you that the rinseless washing or whatever did not do that. The hybrid wash did not do this, because the vehicle was already like super messed up. So you can definitely see what's going on right there. Especially here, I know this is awful. Look at this. Get a good solid idea. Hopefully we can fix it with the gold standard and gold standard pad. Here's my gold standard polish. Here's my battery DA polisher from also DIY. So I'm doing the gold standard procedure. This is gonna be kind of interesting. So I'm gonna start with one. And then go like, oh, let me go prime it first. All right, attempt number 2. There we go. All right, and then let me just, okay, here we go. Let's do a 3. Yep, looking a lot better for sure. I can definitely say that. And a little easier to tell as I go like this. So here's how this is looking over here. Yeah, you can definitely see that right there. And then you can kind of see the difference, right, already. As I go down here, you still see you see that you have the watermarks and all that stuff. But when you go up here, right around this area specifically, is looking a lot cleaner already. All right, so that's a pretty good start. I'm gonna probably do a 4 on speed, and then we'll go from there. Oh yeah, that's some compound smears, but yeah, you can definitely see where the area I cleaned up. Way different than before. Yeah, I just gotta clean up the compound, but yeah. Huh. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see the difference here. So I just worked on this side of the trunk, but wanted to take you through. Let me turn off my headlight to really show you the difference here. So you can see around the light all those like love marks and stuff like that, plus the splatter from my early compounding, but don't mind that. You can definitely see that. You go over here, definitely not so much, right? So you can definitely really tell the difference, right? Yeah, especially around here. Definitely around here. Especially if I hold a light like this. Now it's not perfect by any means, but it is a lot better than something like that for sure. Hopefully the camera can pick that up for sure. Looking a lot better as I go along. Hey everyone, the mic actually crapped out at one point during the middle of the polishing portion and the entirety of the coating portion, unfortunately. So for the rest of the video, I will do a voiceover. And so I'll be just talking about my feelings about the gold standard polish, the polisher itself, and of course the system overall, like, you know, what my feelings are, what my thoughts about it, my impressions and everything, while there's still quite a bit of video left. Anyways, I think it overall makes sense for the consumer standpoint, and I won't speak on the, of course, the more professional side of things, but I'm sure it will work for most users. Maybe for the user that, or the customer that really wants it like pristine and stuff like that, maybe perhaps something a little different or some modifications is to be had, especially what pad you use. But I think even then, this gold standard sort of system, I think will work for 95% of the cars, because realistically you definitely don't want to get every little thing off the car, which means you're really cutting into the clear coat just for that thing to disappear, you know what I mean, like that mark, the scratch, or whatever you're after. At that point, you're sacrificing that clear coat only for it to get scratched again anyway, sometime down the road, literally, or sometime in the lifetime of that vehicle. So it's just overall unrealistic, especially for a daily driver, because you're driving a day, more likely every day. So every day there's always that chance that you hit a rock, or sand particles and whatever stuff comes off from the truck tires and stuff like that, the semis, right? So it's just really unrealistic to expect like this perfection that one would really like. Of course, don't get me wrong, I would love to have a perfect paint from my own two hands, right? But that's just overall unrealistic. So going in with that sort of mindset does help with the polishing and everything. But it's always good to try to see if you can get that certain scratch off of your surface. Just go ahead and try it. You're already here. You already have the system in your hands. Your polish. You're already in that sort of polishing mode. So might as well, give it a try with like maybe different speeds, maybe different technique, maybe a slower pass or something. That I don't know. I'm not a professional by any means. I'm a driveway detailer and just a DIY sort of detailer, pretty much appropriate to the name here. But overall, I think it just works. It definitely makes sense, again, from a consumer standpoint. But again, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine for the professionals anyway. But going off from there, the battery polisher, from what I was able to get my hands on with in this time of working on the Mini Cooper and everything, I think overall it's really good. I think the value is definitely there if you're willing to invest into that kind of money. And if you do decide to sort of take that leap, you are going to get your money's worth, I think, because it comes with a polisher, it comes with a tool to get the backing plate off, and you can switch it between a 5-inch and 6-inch plate or pad. And for me, I stuck with the 5-inch the whole way, and I think it still works pretty well for most vehicles anyway. Unless you're like working with like a large surface, like a boat or something like that, then yeah, obviously you kind of want at least a 6-inch. But back to here, the system overall for the polisher alone, I think it works very well. Having to switch out the batteries and everything worked flawlessly. I think pulling out the battery out of the polisher is like probably the hardest part, honestly, but letting it charge and then switching to the next battery is just such a, like, it just like clockwork pretty much. And the charging, that's like a crazy part too, because it's just so quick. It gets most of the power back in like 30 minutes or something like that. It felt even quicker in my experience, and especially even the remaining 20%, which is supposed to be the slowest part, even got that done relatively quick. So I essentially had enough power for the Mini Cooper. Of course, doing a big ass truck, that could be a different story, but definitely for a vehicle like that, I think even for my Corolla or the Toyota Prius, which is a deceptively large car, I think it will handle it just fine, especially with how fast it charges. Even if it is a little behind on charging, you probably like take that break, and kind of like reset your mind a little bit, have a little refresher, take a little breathing break, all that stuff. Take a little breather, and then you'll be back on your feet in no time. But let's talk about the sort of the handling, the ergonomics, and everything like that. Even for something like the DIY detail polisher, it will vibrate, right? And you'll have some sort of vibration experience with your hands. So if you're like kind of like worried about like the sort of effects it has on your hands over time and stuff like that, I do understand. And so I personally wore some gloves, like actual like thick gloves, to minimize the vibration on my hands. But for those who don't really care about vibration, I think this will be fine, especially for something that's battery powered and all that stuff. And something for that's battery powered, it definitely held up the power pretty much in the entire way. Once you like let go of the trigger and try to hit it again, and the battery's dead, it's dead. Like, it won't move, But the power, never I felt like it like bogged down or like weakened or anything like that. It just kept that consistent, I would say for the most part, consistent range of power, depending on what speed you're at. Of course, I did it at 4.5-ish at most, but 4 is definitely the average, right? And I felt like the polisher never really gave out, never gave up. Any of those curvatures and stuff like that never like really slowed down by any means. So this does pack power for a battery powered polisher. So I am definitely happy with the just that raw performance there. And on top of that, the swirl marks and everything are gone for the most part, like at least the fine ones anyway. Of course, the more sort of prominent ones, but you have to kind of try to look at it to really see under like certain lights. It definitely still shows up there, but it's not like it definitely isn't something you'll be able to see. Like when once you like forget about it, you'll just forget about it, right? You'll likely not see it until you really try with like a scan light or like some specific angles and stuff like that with said lights. So all that being said, the polisher, the system, the actual the compound / polish itself. Okay, so that's where it gets a little tricky, because spraying it for the first time onto the pad while it's still spinning does take some time to get used to. But my only tip that I will give that will actually be, I would say, helpful is just spray it like you mean it. Like, don't do any like half limp, half ass, half effort sprays, because otherwise it'll drip out. It's gonna get a little messy and stuff like that. And make sure, of course, you point it at your pad. I've had like some splatter go to different places, especially like my sandals and stuff like that, my footwear. I thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, you definitely want to be careful with that when you're aiming it, where you're actually, what's behind the polisher, what's around the polisher. You definitely want to be mindful of your environment when you're using a spray polish. Other than that, getting used to it was quite an experience, and especially implementing my DIY sort of pad washer that I made from the idea of Sheepstar. I made it to the configuration from Sheepstar's video, because I thought that was the most fitful one. It just really makes more sense to me. from a time saving perspective, and also a money saving perspective as well. Even though, yes, it is $50 to build that sort of configuration with the bucket and everything, it still made sense to me because I still save money, because your typical pad washer is like what, $100+ or something like that. So no way. So I just made one myself. It was easy. It definitely did not take too much time to make into that sort of configuration, other than cutting the bucket so that the polisher can fit into the pad washing system. Otherwise, yeah, you can you just like take the dirty pad, you put on top of the, what do you call, the guard, right, that shoots up the liquid and stuff like that, and you just give it a spin at a speed of 1. You just let it spin, make sure it gets every little part of the pad, which is not too difficult. You can kind of like move around a little bit just so you can get to those areas, right, those tricky little areas of the pad, like the edges, for example. You definitely want to get those parts. Other than that, of course, I definitely wash my pad using Rinless wash. I use, of course, the DIY detail one, just to really get into the DIY detail hole for that one, and basically was able to use that one pad the entire time, and it still held up just fine. When it comes to how much I used to polish from the spray bottle or whatever, it was like minimal. I think I used like probably ounce, 1.5 ounces. That's probably it. Maybe a maximum 2, maybe at the very max. I felt like the spraying thing makes sense once it all kind of clicks in, once you get used to the rhythm of just spraying like you mean it. It just really saves time on end product, right? And you don't have to worry about the splatter as much, but you still have to be mindful, right? You just have to check up on like the window and like the trim and everything above where polishing and stuff like that. So you just have to be careful. You just have to pay attention, and that's pretty much it. And wipe it down with the Rinless wash or whatever, or even panel prep, and you'll be able to just cut through the time if you're actually a professional. So overall, I think the polishing itself took about a good 3 hours or something like that, or 2, just because I'm still trying to get used to the whole polishing thing. I'm not like the best polisher out there, but I definitely have the results, so definitely happy with what I was able to do is all that matters here. All right, so everything I think I mentioned had to do with the polishing system. Yeah, so everything felt fine. I think the ergonomics for the polisher is good. I wouldn't say it's the best because not everyone's hands is the same, so I'm just gonna say it's good for right now. I mean, the battery thing definitely does make sense. It definitely feels balanced. I didn't have any trouble handling it by any means. I even operated it with one hand, and it definitely just worked fine. I think the only thing I felt was a little difficult was trying to squeeze the trigger and then hit the lock on it for some reason. I don't know. I just found that to be the biggest trouble for me, which is the lock button, and that's about it really. So overall, I am happy with the polishing. I was able to get the polisher for like $300 during a sale from House of Rags. It was such a deal. It was such a sweet deal at the right time, and that was just all the more happy I was. But even at $375, which is the original price, I think it's still worth it, because a lot of these things are really expensive, especially it can go up to like $600 with the polisher and the 2 batteries. And especially they have to be 2 adequate batteries, so you definitely are going to be spending quite a bit. So this is, if you compare to other such systems and bundles, this is a valuable sort of pack here. So I definitely would consider getting the DIY detail system, especially if you're just like a DIY person, right? So that definitely, it all makes the more sense. It just really cuts like the right corners to really bring the value and performance to the DIY people who kind of want the best out of their money with the polisher and everything. It's definitely was something I was really looking forward to trying out, and I think I came out of that experience very happy with both the polisher itself, how sort of the procedure worked, and of course the results. And speaking of that, the results. Alright, so now we can see the results almost with the coating portion. So once again, I did use the DIY Detail 8-year coating that I had left. I was really able to stretch out what I had left. It was like a little less than half of the bottle left. The only mistake I did was right at the very beginning and that was like just pouring it onto the pad to prime it instead of just like 7 drops or something like that. So I just kind of was able to really stretch it out though until right at the end, which is like the 2 lower panels in the front, and I think and of course the glass. So for the glass and those 2 lower front panels, I just went ahead and used the remaining bottle of my Cerakote V2, and I think that came out just fine as well. So after stretching it out, it was completely dry for pretty much both of those bottles, and yeah, it was kind of a funny experience. So technically I do have 2 different coatings on the vehicle, but it's really like I would say 95% or 90% DIY Detail, and then the remaining percentage Cerakote. So Cerakote is on the glass and the little 2 panels in the front. It's like right at the corners, and then of course DIY Detail for everything else. Really, I did not coat the wheels. Screw that. I'm not coating all those little ridges and spaces and little intricate little designs and stuff like that. No, I'm just gonna use a spray and rinse ceramic spray of some kind, like a wet coat from Decon or DIY Detail quick beads, or even like Pan's ceramic sealant spray or whatever you call it, in the spray and rinse style. So yeah, I'll definitely do that for the wheels. So other than that, you can check out the results here. I think it's pretty immaculate for what it went through. So when it comes to buying brand new vehicles, it is actually the best time to go and polish the brand new car and then coat it with whatever you have. Unfortunately, I was able to have the resources and time and just time to order Pan's coating, because that's really what I wanted to really use for that vehicle, but I just made do with what I had, which was the remaining amount for DIY Detail, which I think is still gonna hold up just fine for a garage vehicle, because that Cooper is going to be in the garage for most of the time, let's be real. So even if that bottle is a year old, I think it'll just be fine for what it is. All right, and especially with the Cerakote, I think it will just hold up just fine as well. So yeah, look at the vehicle. I mean, you're going from having the dealership, it just had a bunch of swirl marks and freaking watermarks and etchings and whatever else it had on there. I think I did a pretty good job for someone that's not professional, just a driveway detailer, and I'm personally happy with it. So I think that's what matters here. And of course, my mom, who's the owner of that vehicle, thought was just really shiny, and that's basically what she said. So I'll take that. I will take her word for it. So she's happy with it. I'm happy with it. I'm pretty proud of myself to having to use the gold standard sort of system for the very first time and having results like that. Like, yeah, I felt like I could have screwed up something, like somehow grind the polisher somewhere in the vehicle or something somehow, but no, that definitely did not happen. So anyways, that's really all I got. That's my whole wash, deconning, and the polishing, and of course the coating of the Cooper. It has been a week at this point as I record this part, and the car is just slick. Like every time I squeeze through the garage and my clothes just rub on the paint a little bit, just that little touch, it's so slick. Like it's like that nice fresh coat of ceramic coating, and it's just that first time, so the slickness, it's just so good. It's quite the experience. It's quite the unique experience over like a sealant, or of course the wax or whatever. But yeah, the coating is always something else. But I think for next time, I will try to make the time for buying Pan's coating, whether it be the 3-year or the what was it, the 8-year, right? I think that would be a good time sometime down the road. And then whenever my vehicle's coating starts to give, then I will do my gold standard polishing on my vehicle, and then give it that the clean coating, whether it be 3-year or 8-year. So all right, happy with it. I love the polisher. I'm probably gonna use that polisher for like those quick polishes on like other people's vehicles, including the BMW that comes here from time to time for a wash. I'll definitely like just do that on the hood real quick and then just see what happens, because that vehicle has had some history, if you know what I mean. So anyways, that'll be for next time. Thank you very much. Comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and hit the like, of course. Really helps out the channel, and I do really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sticking to this little journey of mine with the Mini Cooper, regarding to just detailing it. I have fun with it. I'll definitely be a little more careful with what chemicals I use, because it is a darker paint. I'll probably go a little more gentle on the citrus wash or something like that, just in case. And you know what? I think it'll probably not even need it anyway, because it'll just be in the garage anyway. So what am I thinking? Anyways, thank you very much, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Sean out.